Bienvenidos, everybody. Welcome back to NRW. I'm your host today, Rob Medina, and I want to thank you all very much for joining me here today. And as you can tell right now with this review, I'm doing things rather differently because I figured I save you all the trouble of having to stare at my big old round face on the screen because I'm going to keep this review rather short and sweet. I had the opportunity to check out the show Señorita 89, which is a Pantalla original series that is available right now on the streaming platform. I'd never heard of the show, so when I looked into the synopsis, which I'll be getting into in a little bit here, and also checked out the trailer, I was actually really interested in checking out the show. So the story of the series goes as follows. Señorita 89 is a thriller set in Mexico's glamorous 80s scenes. It follows Concepcion, played by the actress Elsie Salas, the matriarch of the most important beauty contest in the country. Together with a team of expert makeup artists, trainers, and even surgeons, she welcomes 32 finalists to her estate called La Encantada. There, they will endure 3 months of arduous training until they reach the Miss Mexico pageant. So, my overall thoughts of the show here so far is simply this. I just thought it was okay. Honestly, I was kind of bored with it, to be completely frank. It is not a bad show by any means. I'm not saying the show is terrible or it's awful. That is not the case at all. But I really didn't connect with the journey these characters are going through here at all. I found it to be rather uninteresting. Now, here's the thing though. The story itself was interesting, but the execution of the story was not interesting for me at all. I wasn't really invested at all with it. But I will point out though this. As far as the aesthetics of the show, the directing, the production design, the cinematography, the editing, the pacing to a degree, even to some degree the script writing and the acting, it's all done beautifully. There's a part of Mexico that I was not familiar with here that existed at all that I got to see in the show, and I really, really did appreciate that. I loved seeing the lushness of Mexico that I just did not know it existed. It was this beautiful green forest that I was just blown away with here, and that I've never been to Mexico, and a lot of the films and TV series that I've come across throughout the years really never shows that side of Mexico, and if they did, I just don't remember. But again, when I was watching the show, I truly did appreciate seeing that, showing a beautiful side of the country here. But despite that, the very same things that I did point out about the show that I thought was really interesting and I really did appreciate, it wasn't really enough for me to keep invested with the show. So in that respect, it just didn't do much for me, unfortunately. The story that you follow here, there's quite a few character stories that you do follow, I should say, that you are learning about some of the contestants' background when it comes to some of the personal struggles that they're going through, that they have a lot of baggage that they're carrying when they arrive at this compound, and that they are having to deal with a lot of the insecurities that they've carried throughout the years, and also at the same time, some of the more personal problems they've had to deal with here prior to the events of them participating with this pageant. For example, there's one particular character whose sister went missing, I think 3 days prior to her arriving at this compound at the estate called La Encantada. And despite me being interested, I wasn't invested. There's another character too that had given birth prior to her being picked out as the 32 finalists contestants to be part of this beauty pageant here. There are a set of rules and regulations that each of these contestants must follow, and they all have to sign a contract agreeing that they're going to follow these guidelines here. And one of the things they mentioned in that contract is that you cannot have been pregnant prior to participating in this event here. And this lady clearly lied about that, and she was caught and was held accountable for her actions in lying. So I thought that was interesting. And this is a part of the industry that I'm not familiar with at all when it comes to beauty pageants. Now, I've heard stories throughout the years and watching some news reading some articles, I meant to say, and also some stories you've seen on the news as well, too, where you have some contestants sharing their experiences in both positive and negative aspects of the industry that I thought was really interesting. But I never really kept up with any of that stuff at all. And I wasn't sure if this show was actually based on any real-life events that may have inspired this series, and as far as I can gather here, nothing I've come across that indicating that was the case. But it would not surprise me though that if they may have taken some inspiration to some degree of many of the stories that are out there that they may have infused into this narrative here. But again, nothing like that has been confirmed, so I'm just only speculating in that respect. So when it comes to what these women are going through and having to go through the training, and where they are being manipulated and they're being judged by their body types and how they look, and that they should be remodified in a lot of ways to look more beautiful than they already are, because all these women are rather beautiful. but despite them being beautiful, there's imperfections that are being pointed about their physical appearance, as far as how they carry themselves, when it comes to their personalities, when it comes to how they articulate their thoughts, and how they have to behave around certain group of people, especially when it comes to these powerful government officials here, which there are plenty of here, and how they're being taken advantage of. And it's just a array of problems that they're all having to face here. And that was something that I was really intrigued in learning how they're going to be dealing with that here. But again, I just wasn't invested. And the way that the second episode ends, it ends on a cliffhanger, which I won't reveal for anyone who hasn't seen it. Even though with that major cliffhanger, I didn't care. I just did not care of what was going on. But again, despite me saying that here, I am not saying the show is terrible, because it's not. It's actually really good, but I just didn't care for the overall execution of the story here. So if I were to give a rating right now for this series so far, I would say the show is definitely worth a shot. And those are my thoughts on the show so far. And again, I just watched the first 2 episodes here, but I will be honest though and say this. If someone were to watch episode 3 right now, I probably would sit down and watch it just to see if the show gets better as it progresses here. But honestly, I don't have really any interest to want to go back and finish watching the story, because from what I've seen so far, it just didn't keep me invested at all. But I still think there's going to be an audience out there for this series that may enjoy the show, and I hope that is the case, which is why I'm pointing out that it is worth a shot, because there were some elements of the story that I thought were interesting that I know some people will like and be invested with here. I unfortunately was not one of them. But despite that though, I hope you guys do check out the show and come to like it here. And if you did check it out, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you also share and like our videos and hit that notification bell. And also make sure you follow our social media accounts on Instagram, New Release Wednesdays, on Facebook, Nerds Rule the World, and on Twitter @TheNRW. And follow me on my social media accounts on Instagram and Twitter, Mr. Rob Medina, and on Facebook, simply just Rob Medina. I also have a show on the channel called You're So Cool with Rob Medina, and I have social media for the show as well. On Instagram, You're So Cool with Rob Medina, and on Twitter, You're So Cool with WRM. And I want to thank you all very much for joining me here today. I hope you guys did enjoy this review, and until next time, everybody, stay safe out there, and salud.